Hello, good morning. Happy Monday. How are you all doing today? Let's see, sound looks good, even though OBS looks different now. Yeah, everything I think looks good. YouTube finally loaded up. That's great. Yeah, I think we're ready to go. All right, so last time that we had left off on the Monday stream, so when we were working on just FusionAuth itself and you, we had learned that we can't get the token unless we use the implicit code grant. And so we can actually see that. I think I actually set up the implicit code grant. In EyeAP, we edit you, and under OAuth grants. Oh, I undid it. Okay. So is this implicit here that we set this up? But that is not very secure. So what is the problem? The problem is that in the URL coming back from the FusionAuth server, they're going to put the token in. It's not a code, but just a token. And that obviously is, well, it's not that it's completely insecure, but it opens up for a man-in-the-middle attack. So basically, it is possible to intercept the URL, grab that token, and now you can make calls on behalf of the user because you have the token. Now I talked to some security people over the week, and they had different sort of like considerations and thoughts for this. So one of them was, yeah, but really everybody uses, like, a lot of people are just using implicit, and like a lot of people like, is it really like that? How big of a deal really is it? Like, that was one of the security person's like considerations. Like, yes, is it insecure? Absolutely. Is it insecure enough for you not to use it? Maybe not. But on when was it? It was Tuesday night. I had an opportunity to chat with a developer relation, Devrel from FusionAuth, and chatted with them a little bit and sort of like told them the problem that we were running into. And he said, "Oh, just use a hosted backend." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm gonna have to like build a full backend and do that." He's like, "No. Use a hosted backend." I'm like, "What do you mean?" So he showed me in the documentation there is a thing called hosted backend. It is right here in the API. So this is actually an API exposed by FusionAuth, and so it's going to be part of my localhost 9011 server. And apparently, it's a pre-built solution for getting the app up and running using the code grant, and then it doesn't allow me to have to write a backend myself. It's the equivalent of them providing the equivalent of a Axum backend for me, but the only thing it's doing is taking the code and converting it into a token for me. So really, this solution gets me my cake and I can eat it too, something like that. So obviously, really nice. We had seen this before, and I didn't recognize that that's what this was. I was very confused about it. I thought maybe it was like talking about like an implicit grant or something else. Apparently I didn't read through properly, but that happens with me a lot on stream. So we're going to go through this a little bit. Now, I did take a look, a brief amount on it, and I'm not 100% sure I'm confident we'll be able to get this set up. So that's my goal for this stream, is like to get this working at least a little bit. So let's go through this. Hosted backend. The hosted backend APIs provide a pre-built solution for getting your app up and running using the OAuth 2 authorization code grant with PKCE. So basically, authorization code grant. I do not need implicit for this. We have in the past shown you how to create these endpoints yourself, but this solution allows you to get going with your app without writing any backend code. You just need FusionAuth. Perfect. Prerequisites. Be sure to review the application section of the FusionAuth user guide to ensure proper configuration before using the hosted endpoints. So I don't think we have reviewed this, maybe? OAuth. The OAuth tabs allows you to configure the OAuth 2 and OpenID Connect settings specific to this application. Okay, let's go through this. Interesting. They have a device grant as well, but I don't think we're going to need that because I think all we need is the authorization code. So let's see. We have client ID, client secret, client authentication. So if we look at ours, client ID, client secret, client authentication required, PKCE not required, generate refresh tokens is on, debug enabled is off in both, URL validation, exact match. They don't have any authorized redirect URLs, but I don't think that's going to be a problem for us. Logout URL, you don't have one. Logout behavior, all applications. The 3 enabled grants, no verification URL, does not require registration, and no Lambda. So the only real difference here is that. Oh, which then I don't have this set. The application-specific device verification URL for the user interaction of the device author. This field is, okay, so I don't think we're going to do that. So I think we're okay. Form fields, client ID. Okay, so we have that. We have that. Client authentication. This selector allows you to set a rule for accessing the token endpoint. The possible values are required. The client secret parameter must be used. This is the default setting. In most cases, you will not want to change this. Not required. Use of the client secret parameter is optional. Not required when using PKCE. Requires the use of the client secret parameter unless a valid PKCE code verifier parameter is used. Okay, this is useful for scenarios when you have a requirement to make a request to the token endpoint where you cannot safely secure a client secret, such as native mobile applications and single-page applications running in a browser. In these scenarios, it is recommended to use PKC. So basically, so client authentication would be not required when using PKC. PKC. So, oh yeah, did that get added in? No. Okay, so this selector allows you to set a rule for proof key for code exchange or PKCE requirements when using the authorization code grant. The possible values are required. The code verifier parameter must be used. If you want to require PKCE for this application, set PKCE to this value. Not required. Use of the code verifier parameter is optional. This is the default setting. Not required when using client authentication. Requires the use of the code verifier parameter unless a valid client secret parameter is used. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Generate refresh tokens. So I'm just going to skip it for right now, and we can come back to it later if we need to. When enabled, FusionAuth will return a refresh token when the offline access scope has been requested. When the setting is disabled, refresh tokens will not be generated even if the offline access scope is requested. In order to use refresh token with a refresh grant to refresh a token, you must ensure that the refresh token grant is enabled. Okay? It is, I believe, enabled. Enable debug to create an event log to assist you. Okay, so I don't think we need that right away. URL validation. Controls of validation policies for authorized redirect URLs and authorized request origin URLs. The possible values are exact match or allow wildcards. Okay, so wildcards would be like I can put a star in or something like that. And I think we're doing exact match right now. Authorized redirect URLs when the OAuth grant, such as the authorization code grant, require browser redirect to a URL found in the redirect URL parameter. The destination URLs must be added to this list. URLs that are not authorized may not be utilized in a redirect URI parameter or the post logout redirect URI parameter. Okay, and we may add as many as we would like. No partial wildcard matches. Okay, that's fine. Oh, but available since then, configured URLs containing wildcards are considered during validation when authorization redirect URL is set to allow wildcards. Okay, so we can use wildcards if we use wildcards in the previous thing. Authorized request origin URLs. The optional configuration allows you to restrict the origin of an OAuth 2 OpenID Connect grant request. If no origins are registered for this application, all origins are allowed. Okay, so like who's allowed to try to log in? Schizophrenic web developer, hello, how are you doing today? Do I have experience with AWS Cognito? I don't. I've never used AWS Cognito. I've heard of it, and I've been told it's a pain to get going with, but it works. I feel like a lot of larger organizations would use Cognito over some of the other tools. Okay, logout URL, which just logs us out and then redirects us. Logout behavior, this one or everybody. Enabled grants. I'm looking to see if there's anything special, especially for like the hosted backend thing. So FusionAuth is easier to set up. I would put a hold on that right now, but only because I'm still working on setting it up to getting it to work the way I would want it to work. I do know that something like Auth0 is significantly easier to set up, but Auth0 does have a propensity of going down. So that's another consideration is for these authentication services, how stable are they? How often do they have outages? And Cognito is, well, it's an AWS service, right? So it goes down as often as AWS goes down, which is more often than I would like, but way less often than Auth0, unfortunately. FusionAuth, I do like the idea of FusionAuth because I think we're going to get that easiness of Auth0 once I figure out how to actually do this. But then you can host it yourself. So you don't have to update it every single time they have an update, and they're not like hosting everybody else's apps. So the code change only happens when you want it to. You can roll back at your own leisure, and therefore it should be pretty stable and not crash. That's been my experience with hosted apps in the past, where you just find one find a version that's stable and just you run with that and just like apply security updates as needed. Okay. So that was everything for the OAuth section. Now, I do wonder if I search for hosted backend. Okay, so there's nothing here. So as far as I know, we are like this sent us to the OAuth section. So I think that we're properly set up. Why not go with Keycloak? You can host it yourself and it's open source. Maybe we could try Keycloak later. I don't remember why I didn't look at it before. I think like somebody had told me about it, but I like ignored it for some reason. I don't remember why. So, and then is this open source? I can't remember if community edition here for FusionAuth is also open source or not. I'll have to ask. Yeah, here, let me write it down right here. Check out Keycloak as an auth, I guess like an auth service. There, saved. The hosted backend endpoints will set the following cookies, which are secure and have a same site value of lax. Yeah, so the DevRel explained this to me about how lax works with this, which is, which I think is going to be nice. It's basically they're going to be using cookies. They're going to set a cookie, but because I'm hosting FusionAuth on localhost, all my other localhost will also get the same cookies. So it's one set of cookies for all. And that's how this thing is going to work. When you are making requests against these endpoints from your JavaScript application, ensure that you are sending cookies as well. The exact syntax varies, but for many frameworks, you must set with credentials to true when you make the request, which is true. With credentials basically just sends cookies. That's pretty much what it is. So they have HTTPS only cookies, HTTP only. I see they support that. Here, let's take a look. If I remember correctly, HTTPS for cookies is when you do secure true, right? Because there is no value, there's no option. HTTPS only. It's just HTTP only. Yeah. And they're not even talking about that here. So my guess is no, but that's because I can also see that that's something for local development because I'm not using HTTPS on local development. And I would hate to have to set up a entire system for having certificate when I'm just testing things out locally. That would suck. So I'm glad they don't require that. Or at least, I don't know, who knows? Maybe they do require it and we're going to have to set that up. Okay, name, AppAt. So, okay, these are the cookies that are set by the hosted backend. So there's 4 cookies, AppAt, AppRT, AppIDT, and expiration. So at the access token, for the configured application, this is a JOT and can be represented to your APIs to access data and functionality. RT, the refresh token for the configured application, only present if the offline access scope is requested. This can be presented to FusionAuth to retrieve a new access token. IDT, the ID token for the user for the configured application, only presented if the OpenID scope is requested. This is a JOT and can be accessed. Okay, so we have an access token and an ID token and a refresh token and when it expires. Okay. FusionAuth will set the domain on these cookies to .example.com, where example is the domain name that FusionAuth is serving from, either from the domain or any subdomain. So localhost in this case. .com is the top level domain and the dot allows the cookie to match the domain and all subdomains. If the host is a simple host name or IP address, FusionAuth will set the domain to that, localhost or 128.7.0.0.1. If FusionAuth is on a nested domain, that it will set cookies on a broadest domain that is not at top level. Okay, so if the simple host name or IP address will set the domain to that, so localhost. So everything that I'm doing on localhost in this browser will also be logged in. That's the idea here. What this means is that FusionAuth needs to be hosted on the same domain or a subdomain or sibling domain of the application that you intend to use with these endpoints. Okay, perfectly fine. So in reality, I would need something like auth or fusion or something like that .brooksbuilds.com. Right, and my learning application is learning.brooksbuilds.com. So that would perfectly work with this, and we'd be fine. You have Node.js web application you want to host. Do you have some advice on where to host? DigitalOcean app platform or just VPS and install Node.js web server? There is also Vercel, I think is one of the big choices, and I think you can get that for free. And then I forget what the other, like any other ones. Heroku used to be the big one, but after they removed their free tier, I sort of like haven't been following all the places to put free web apps these days. So I guess it also depends upon like if it's just a test app or like under development. Vercel, like a lot of people use it, but I've also been like seeing people starting to shy away from it a little bit. There's some of those like charges that people have gotten, which like even though it's supposed to be free, especially for like testing and dev use, I don't know. I don't really know how what to feel anymore. I feel like a lot of these sites are starting to not be as great anymore. DigitalOcean is still, do they have like a $3 one now? Or is it still $5? Okay, so we got this. Caution. When developing against a FusionAuth cloud instance with a host name ending in FusionAuth.io, unless your application shares the same domain of FusionAuth.io, attempts to use these endpoints will fail. So basically, I can't, like if I was using their FusionAuth, which that is an option that they have a hosted option where I could use their FusionAuth. They're saying this won't work. I have to do this myself, which is fine. We're doing that. Okay, so for example, if your app is on app.example.com and FusionAuth is on auth.example.com, the cookies would be usable by your application. If FusionAuth is on auth.department.division.example.com and the app lives on app.otherdepartment.otherdivision.example.com, the cookies would still be usable since the cookies are set on the example.com domain. Okay, perfect. So everything seems to be fine. Yeah, then I just go with the VPS light sale. Okay, they have like a $3.5 a month. Yeah, that should be fine. I've not really used light sale very much, so I can't really speak to it as like a server, but like $3 or so per month, like to me, that's worth it if there's no headaches. Login. This API will start an OAuth 2 authorization code grant by building a valid request and then redirecting the browser to our OAuth 2 authorized endpoint. If the user is not logged in, the user will be presented with the login page and prompted for credentials before being redirected back to the callback endpoint. To use this API, redirect the browser to this route. This is not meant to be called by non-browser clients. So start the login flow. So this is what it looks like. And so we need to go find our app here. We have our front end, the auth login page. No, was it nav? This one, login page. Okay, so ahref, that we're sending you here. We have to fix all of these. All right, so client ID. Now, am I grabbing this from my .env? It's a good question. Even though this is all like locally developed and none of these matter, I'm just gonna open up my the .env over here in another window just to follow my policy for myself. Okay, so where am I? We're code, Brooks builds, EyeAP. Let's see. I want. Okay, so I think it's in front end. Okay, so in front end, I do not have any .env whatsoever, and I believe that they get auto loaded with that, which is why I don't think I had them here. Okay, so I guess for right now, client ID is not that secret. Let's go ahead and go find our client ID, which is you. Okay, so you go in there, the redirect URI. Okay, so where are we going? We are going to HTTP localhost 8080 what? 8081. Hard coding is usually like we should eventually put this into a .env. Okay, so localhost 8081. I think it was like auth login. Oh, a state. Yes, so a state is important. And then I'm just going to do that for a state. And then scope. Okay, so what is our scope that we need to send? Okay, so we have client ID, redirect URI, state is not required. Scope, the auth2 scope parameter to be passed to the auth2 authorized endpoint. The format is a URL encoded space separated list of scopes, i.e. OpenID plus offline access or OpenID, like whatever that. Available scopes, OpenID, this scope is used to request the app.id token cookie to be returned in response, and then offline access. This scope is used to request the refresh token. So I think all I really care about is OpenID. So we'll do OpenID. Okay, so that should be it. So if I hit save, syncing that, which means we can come here to log in, and that is going to go into, that's going to the wrong URL. I need to tell it to go to someplace specific. Yeah, it's going to the own domain. So HTTP localhost 9011. Let's try that. Am I using their hosted UI for login and registration? I am hosting it myself. So it's sitting here on localhost 9011. So this is basically it's a test application that we've created here. There's no real applications using it, which is why I don't really care about exposing this client secret, as it were. And it's all hosted locally. And then if I were to use this for real, I would create a new one of these hosted on AWS, probably on something like ECS or so. And then that one, absolutely never share the secret. Now, client ID is one of those things where it's like, it's kind of hard not to share because it ends up just being part of the app. Like you could just go in and inspect the code and see it there. So it is not considered a secret thing, which is why you have the client secret as a separate thing anyways. All right, are you going to, yes, you're now going to send me there. So now if we hit that, okay, that just logged me in. But I have my state coming back. I do not have a code in the URL, which is nice. And my guess is that I should now have a cookie. I do. Okay, so app at expiration. So we can see that this expires. I wish it like told me like how much time this is from now. So I can easily just look at it because I'm lazy. Here's my access token. I have okay, so you know what? Let's clear our cookies. Just delete all. We'll do login again. Okay, we have to log in again. Keep me signed in, submit. Okay, we're back. We're logged in. If we take a look at our cookies, here we go. Now we have our at expiration, our access token, and our ID token. So we have access to all these things. Perfect. We can see that they are, let's see, the at expiration is not HTTP only. The access token is HTTP only. None of them are secure. I wonder if they're not secure because FusionAuth is not running on HTTPS. And I don't know if we'll be able to double check this until after FusionAuth. Yeah, I don't know. Like if we deploy that and we get it a certificate, maybe we can then see if it's secure or not. But okay, this is great. And because this is on localhost, same site lax, because it's same site lax, we'll be able to, domain localhost, same site lax, we'll be able to send this to any server that's on localhost, which means Hasura. We'll be able to get the access token. So this is great. So I now have the full access token. See, is that an array? But is it really an array? It doesn't feel right. Like I wonder if I could make these on or not. Secure thing is a setting. Yeah, it's a JOT token, but I wonder like, is this all one JOT token? And I have to like combine them together and it like split them apart, or is this the JOT token and like are the 3 JOT tokens? first element in the array. Okay, so this is the JOT token. Good to know. If I copy you, do I get that stupid thing in there? Can I like play with you now? And actually, I think with our Rapid API, we should be able to remind me later. Okay, I want to create a new request here. Let's call this like get user info, which I think we must be authenticated with. And so for our headers, we're going to do here, I'll bring this up so you can see what I'm doing. We'll do a authorization, bear that. Oh, it kept the quotes in. That's interesting. I don't see ... which is it's a good sign that I was able to get the full thing. Okay, and then we want to go a get to HTTP localhost 9011, and I think it was like API user. And if I don't do anything else, I got a 401. This is apparently not how to do authorization. We'll have to go look at users. I want to retrieve a user. Get. Oh, I need the user ID. That's what it is. I need my user ID, which wait, can I see what my user ID is? I don't. It's a UUID, but I don't think I need to. You saw some guys at FusionAuth here a few months ago and stream here on Twitch. They're promoting this auth tool, which makes sense, right? Like they would be promoting their own tool. I don't think that I can get my ID out of here unless it's like the ID token. However, we can cheat because we can just log in here and see my ID here is that. Okay, so user there. And so if I hit this, still a 401. Was that not how to make an authenticated request? Okay, API not key, JOT authentication. When an API is marked with a red key icon such as a red, it means you may call this API without an API key. Instead, provide a JSON web token. If cookies are being used, I don't even need to use the authorization header. Yeah, it is authorization bearer. Okay, so that is the correct thing to do, but I can only use this with the red key. No, it's a red lock. I can only use a red key. Is there another reasons? I'm not sure what I would be able to get with this. I don't want to create a user, retrieve a user. That's a lock. What's the lock again? The lock is API key authentication. Oh, that's too bad. Okay. To call that API, you need his JOT token. I am using the user's JOT token because I just logged in as that user. But that API key doesn't have a key. It has a lock, which is API key authentication. So it's not a JOT token. The key is JOT token. The lock is API key authentication. And for users, retrieve a user is a red lock, API key only. So not JOT token. Now, that being said, is there a different endpoint for just getting like user info? Not that I see. Okay, maybe I can just do user info. There is a top level user info endpoint. FusionAuth will also leverage the user info API that is part of. Okay. Oh, there's the API is in here somewhere. Is it OAuth scope? No, I don't think it's OAuth scope. Can I just do? Okay, let's just try this. If I say user info, no, API 404. Okay, so it's not that. If I don't even pass you in, yeah, 404. Okay, so yeah, I don't know where to go for that. We get to ask their AI. I want to get the user info using an access token. OAuth 2 user info. Okay, OAuth 2 user info. So OAuth 2 user info, we have authorization. Invalid access token. Token is invalid. It cannot be parsed. You need to include the access token and authorization header of your request. Authorization bearer, the access token. That makes sense. URL is FusionAuth OAuth 2 user info, and that's it. Okay. Was that not? Let's see. So cookies, access token. I thought it was the first one here, right? Did we copy this one? So I did log in as this user. Come back to here. Let's double check. Okay, so HTTP localhost 9011 OAuth 2 user info 400 access token is invalid. Okay, so that one. Let's try the second one. That one didn't like it. This one doesn't feel like it's the right size. Yeah. Okay. And then finally, we have the ID token. We can try one of these. Didn't like that. I'm less hopeful about these two. Unless these already expired for some reason, but it's invalid and cannot be parsed, which is different than, which I would expect would be a different error than expired. Yeah, so I really doubt this is going to be it. And I am doing authorization bearer token. Okay, that's in the headers. Wait, it is supposed to be a GET request, right? It is a GET request. Okay. Now okay, so OAuth 2. Yeah, those are actually OAuth scopes. I think that, didn't we see that there was like a full OAuth section? I don't know why. It feels so hard for me to find anything in here. In browser API calls, I need to enable cores to do that? Oh, that sucks. I don't want to do that. This is just CRUD applications, yeah. Okay, this API is used to validate a JSON web token. Okay, so we can validate a JSON web token with a get to this. Okay, so if we do a get to you, it's completely unlocked. Request headers, authorization, bearer, encoded access. And wait a second, you need to be an encoded access token. Hold on. When an API is marked with a red key icon, it means you may call this API without an API key, instead provide a JSON web token. Okay, yeah, so that's what we've been doing. Okay, now I'm confused. See authentication for additional examples, but encoded access token? All right, so my guess is this is gonna be improper, but okay, so if I go to this, we do authorization bearer, get what we think is the real access token, 401, unauthorized. So I'm going to get request to localhost 9011 API jot validate. The access token is not valid. A new access token may be obtained by authentication against the login API, the token endpoint, or by, okay. So now if we just come back to here and I just go login again, theoretically it should be new, but it's still bad right away. Okay, do I need to encode this? Or when I say encoded, it's just the jot is already encoded. And so therefore it's not, I don't have to double encode the jot, right? Okay, so that didn't work. System? No, it's literally updating the system. Don't want to do that. User action reasons, don't need that. I mean, we would think it'd be part of users, but the info is under OAuth. Don't think it's under OpenID Connect, right? Oh, it is. Okay, so this is where we have user info coming in. Right, those are closed locks. Okay, what is this under? Is this all under one route? It's a post. Was I supposed to do a post to OAuth to user info, I think? Maybe? Still 400 error. Yeah, either way, access token is invalid. So good news, we got the access token. Bad news, we're not getting the user info. Now, we're getting, okay, so cookies are being sent. If I just redirect, okay, so let's try something silly. Let's head back to the home page. So, because after we log in, I think we go home, right? So after I log in, yeah, it takes us to auth login. So auth login page, there we have auth login. Let's add in another, just an href. It's gonna be a very silly way of going and grabbing that user info to see if this works, because then it will send the cookies if I just navigate there, and then the response should just dump into the web page. I think. So go to HP localhost 9011 OAuth 2 user info. So if we just do that, okay, so let's log in again. Get user info, and we got 401 error. So it didn't like that. So that's not the way to get the user info. We know that needs an API key. Can I get an API key through the jot? Retrieve an API key? No. I need an API key to retrieve an API key. That's cool. I don't think login would have anything, right? No. You know what I wish? I wish that I was able to filter all the APIs by token. So hey, I can use a jot for this. That would be really nice. But I don't think, what can I, there's very little that I can even see that I can use with jot authentication. Where is this going? This is going to API user. Huh. And it's what type of request are you? It's a GET request. because it doesn't say, and it's not sending any data. So that's just going to go to API user, but a 401 with this bearer token there. Yeah, this is only looking up like API key type stuff, which is not what I want. Okay, so let's see. We can maybe go to an external JOT validator. Okay, so an encoded token would be, here's our access token, invalid signature. What would my secret be for this? Would it be the client secret? I don't actually know what their secret would be, so I don't know actually how to validate it. Third party like this. Okay, new idea. Let's go check out Hasura documentation, because they might be able to use this JOT, and they have a section in here for authentication authorization, authentication quick start for FusionAuth. Okay, so they're gonna have us create a FusionAuth instance, which we already have. Okay, so we have the new app set up. Do they have anything special that we need to do while we set it up? You enable generate refresh tokens and require registration. Interesting that they have require registration up. I think we had that. Create a Lambda function. The next episode involves creating a Lambda function to add custom claims to the JOT. The custom claims from the JOT tell Hasura about the role of the user making the request. As a result, Hasura can enforce the appropriate authorization rules. Okay, so this is in here. Customizations, lambdas, create a new. You want to give it the name. I'm going to call this Hasura JOT populate. Add the following code. So let's just copy you. And actually, so you have function reconcile, user registration, ID token, JOT user. Oh, they changed this around. Okay, that would not have worked. All right, so you want to update the JOT, which is, okay, type. Oh, type JOT populate. That didn't change anything here. I'm now confused about this. There it goes. This is what we want. All right, JOT populate, JOT user registration, JOT user registration. Okay, that's great. We want to take the JOT. So now we can copy you and replace you. Okay, so we're going to take in the JOT user and registration. For the JOT, we're going to add this HTTPS Hasura.io JOT claims equals Hasura default role. Okay, what's the default role, let's say, for Hasura? We can use maybe public as the default role. Allowed roles. So this user is allowed to be public and let's say admin. We'll do those two. And then the user ID, okay, we put those in there. Excellent. So if I save you, the most recent one, okay, there it goes at the bottom. Okay, so I wonder if I'm going to need to change this to my Hasura, which is a localhost, or if actually their hosted Hasura is where it goes and gets the claims and does all that stuff. Now you need to configure the previously created app to use this Lambda, navigate to the applications page, and edit the app, click on JOT, and enable the JOT. Okay, so applications, EyeAP, JOT, enable the JOT. Ooh, even if I don't enable that, I still have access token. I don't know which one I want to do. Let's try access token for that one. Access token, okay, populate. I also wonder if I enabled you, is that why my JOT token didn't work? Because I didn't have that set up? Let's try logging in again. You don't give me anything there, but in my storage, cookies, access token, you. Okay, no change there. That's fine though, I think. Create a signing key. Navigate to settings, key master, and generate an RSA key. Okay, well, this is gonna be fun to do on stream. Well, we're never gonna be able to use this key for real. Settings, key master, generate an RSA key pair, I think is what it said. Yeah, key pair. Configure the RSA key as shown in the image above. So RSA key Hasura is the name. Leave everything else pretty much default. So RSA Hasura. Now you need to configure the application to use the new RSA key. Wait a second, but you want that and you need a public key to import. I can't do this without that. Oh wait, import RSA key pair, generate RSA key pair. That's, okay, there we go. Hasura RSA. submit you. Now you need to configure the application to use the new RSA key. Go to the Jot tab for your app and select the newly created RSA key for access token signing key and ID token signing key fields. Okay, so this is in our application under the JSON web tokens. We do that. Okay, so we're not going to use the default signing key anymore. We've created our own. Okay, so access token signing key, Hasura RSA. Interesting that they're using HS and then we're using RSA now. ID token, we'll use Hasura. Well, now we'll be able to inspect it, save the settings, and you're done with FusionAuth for now. Okay, so saved. So theoretically now, though, are you now signed with this other key? So if I put you in here, I need to verify. Okay, so it knows that it's an RSA. Invalid signature, so I need to go find, let's see, where was that? Was that in settings? Keymaster. Are you just gonna give me all the stuff? You are just gonna give me all the stuff. Okay, what do you need? You need the public key and or the private key. So public key and you are or Jot. Okay, so this might work. I don't remember if it needs the dashes. It might just be this. And the private key. Private key is not viewable. Oh, nice. This one, it doesn't give me that right away. Can I see you anyways? No. Oh, I wonder if I have to download it. What do I got? I've got certificate, the PEM. Okay, so the PEM is going to be the, oh, okay, fine. Let's see, fingerprints, the certificate, the PEM, and then the public key. So if two public keys, oh, wait. I don't know. I might not have the private key here. I have the certificate, but not. Oh, wait. I don't get access to the private key, so I can't validate this. Fine. Okay. So, anyways, back to you. It's time to integrate FusionAuth with Hasura. Open the Docker Compose file and add the following line under environment. Okay. So we have Hasura GraphQL Jot secret. So in Hasura environment equals, okay, and then this is going to have to be, oh, okay. So nested mappings don't allow, I wanted this to be a string and you won't let me do that. Expected a string and I can't use single quotes for that. Did not mean to go to the end like that. I wanted to go to the end like that. Incorrect type string. Do I have to now select all of you? I want to insert. No, you're still upset. Okay, so it wants this to be a string here, but I can't apparently put that directly into the environment thing, which is unfortunate. Now, I wonder if this actually is going to cause a problem. So like, let's say if I leave you like this, did not find expected key. Okay. Line 23. Okay, so it doesn't. Okay, so I think what we need to do is we need to take this and put it into an environment file. So we have to do a like env file and do something like compose env or how about .env compose. Okay, so if I do that, we need to create a new file. So touch, see, I'm in CLI. That's not where I want to be. Touch.env compose. Okay, so we've got you open and I want to put all of you in that. Okay, so you should be good. Let's also go to git ignore and add in env something like star. Yeah, so that .env is gone now. Perfect. Okay, so compose, let's resave you. Let's Docker Compose watch this again, see if this runs and loads and if it's happy. Okay, watch enabled, everything is running. Back to our documentation. The last step is to configure the permissions in your Hasura application. Consider there is a user table with the following columns: ID of type text, primary key, and email of type text. Okay. To configure the permissions, go to Permissions tab in the user table. Right, and then we can see what user we have. And so if I remember correctly, we have public, and we actually can just go take a look at that. We have public and then admin are our two possibilities. So we need to add in something in Hasura for that. I don't actually, do we even have anything in the database whatsoever to do? Hasura console is not able to reach your Hasura GraphQL engine instance. Please ensure, well, it was working at one point in time. Did we break it? Yes, apparently we broke it. I wonder if we need, I vaguely remember reading at some point in time that I can't have both an env file and an environment here. So if I, let's see, if I delete you, we go to our .env compose, we add you in here. Okay, we just have equals, those all should be fine. YAML, get rid of you. I wonder if I have to down to get it to reread this also. But I think watch should actually check the differences in compose.yaml. I think it does that properly. Or not. Okay. You're on 8082. So you should be up and running. You're not. See, control N for resize. There you go. Okay, so this is FusionAuth, Postgres, EyeAP. Wait, only 3 things up? Oh no. Hasura started but never's running. I think it's called let's see, Docker Compose logs Hasura. Let's see, Enterprise Edition features are disabled. That's fine. I don't really care about that. I don't see any major problems with this. Jock, not Jot. Oh, okay. Message, refreshing Jock from endpoint that. Okay, so it now needs, FusionAuth needs to be up and running before Hasura attempts to even do anything at all. So Hasura now depends on not just DB, but also auth, condition service healthy. And then, okay, you have a health check there. Okay, perfect. So now let's bring you back up again and see if that works. It just says started. It doesn't say healthy, which is not great. I wonder if we should, well, of course, we don't have a health check for us. We should create a health check for Hasura. But yeah, in the meantime, yeah, okay, so auth, you depend upon the database. Hasura, you depend upon auth. Condition service healthy, and you attempt to get that. Okay, so are you up and running? Okay, you're still up and running, and then where were you trying to load from? .well-known JWKS. Okay, so if I just go to, let's do this in Rapid API. So 9011, well-known like that, right? Okay, here, I could just copy you. Oh, I can't copy you because I can't select inside there. Okay, I can just go in. Okay, so well-known jocks, we're doing good. Get request to it, and okay, 200, and I get keys. And it's an RSA key. I get 1 item from here. It's the signature. I would guess that this is the public key for the one that I created. Okay, so that is working. I kind of need this. That's kind of what I need to wait for, isn't it? Compose YAML. Yeah, compose. Let's nope. In auth for a health check. Curl silent fail. So we're gonna get that. Put the output into dev null and ensure that our HTTP code is good. Actually, don't know if I've. Okay, let me test it. Let me test that. Double quote. Okay, 200 and echo. It's a 0. Okay, so that's good. Does that? What does W do? Man, curl. Write out. Make curl display information on centered out after a completed transfer. The format is a string. Okay, so it just writes it out. So silent fail. Do that. Put all the output into dev null and write out the HTTP code. Okay, so we get the 200 back and we're fine. So this should now wait until that does its thing. So let's save. Let's bring ourselves back up again. I could put in a health check for Hasura as well. Okay, database is healthy. Auth is healthy. Hasura started and EyeAP is started. No good. Okay. Error null message refreshing jock from endpoint. Okay, so it refreshed. There was no error. But then error refreshing jock. Connection failure. Network socket connect. Socket 47 does not exist. Connection refused. Okay, jock new. Okay, so it knows to go to host 9011. Nothing to do. Okay. Let's put a health check on Hasura and maybe see if it's just like too fast. Okay, so health check, we'll have our test. We'll do the same thing here. So we'll curl silent fail. Localhost, in this case, it's 8080. And I need to know what the health check route is for Hasura. All requests are get requests to the /healthz endpoint. There's also Hasura HealthZ available as an alternative, which mirrors HealthZ. Okay, so just to get request to HealthZ. Got it. Okay, so we go to that. Let's get all output to /dev null. And then I don't really care about that. So endpoint, not disabled, interval. Let's wait 5 seconds. Let's timeout on 5 seconds. Start period, maybe wait like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Sure, why not? Retries, let's do like 15 retries. Let's see if we can get a health check going here and maybe see that it shows healthy, or my guess is, okay, so started. I wonder if doesn't seem right. It's still not loading. Docker compose. Yeah, it's completely down. And it's not showing unhealthy or healthy at all. It's just like, yep, nope, we're good. Hasura is just dead. Doesn't seem to be good. Vivex, hello, how are you doing today? Hey. Okay, so I do have the env file, and we're going to env compose, which we do have here. Compose, and so let's try it, because maybe it's just not grabbing the stuff it needs to grab, although we think that it is. Let's just try completely rebuilding everything. So we'll do a docker compose down, and we'll just remove everything. You're doing pretty good. Excellent. That's good to hear. You redesigned your website for the millionth time yesterday. You just went super simple this time. Nice. Yeah, I just stopped working on my personal website. I don't know. Like I never really care or use it. I don't even know. I have no metrics on it, so I have no idea if anybody's even ever seen it. Okay, let's bring this back up with the watch. It will pull everything in and rebuild everything, reconfigure FusionAuth, and do all the fun stuff. So this will be a longer first run. You know what I could make? I could make our main application, the front end, rely on Hasura. Oh, that was fast. Okay, so Hasura started, but not healthy and still dead. You're in the same boat, hence just a super simple thing that won't really need any maintenance. Nice. Excellent. Well, that's always exciting to have something new out there. Okay, so let's try this. We have EyeAP, which is our front end, right? Yeah, EyeAP. Let's say that you depend on auth service healthy, Hasura condition service healthy. Let's try this again. So my guess is now we're going to be forced to watch Hasura fail. Oh yeah, Vivex, if you want me to show the website, I'd be happy to. Ooh, okay, finally we get to see Hasura failing to start. That's what we wanted to see. Okay, so Docker logs, Docker compose logs Hasura. Error fetching JWK connection failure, network socket connect does not exist. I wonder if this is the problem. Connection refused. So I want Hasura Fusion Auth added into my query here. Ooh, Hasura GraphQL engine. Okay. Also a problem from Keycloak. Okay. So using both environment and env file, GraphQL, but I don't know. Okay, that's just Keycloak stuff. Weird. Okay. So I don't know about that. Oh, Vivex, you shared the URL. Yeah, let's take a look at it. Where's my chat on this system? All right, here we go. You are not lying. This is a very simple website. I do love the footer here. I am honestly just too tired of updating this site. Time for some minimal BS. Nice. It gives us like sort of like a view into your mentality too. But okay. Let's see, you have okay, so you basically have just links to two things. So basically, it's like a super simple portfolio site, right? So you have your Comfy UI subnodes, so the link to that, and then also a link to your Spinny Jumper game. No contact page. Do you want to be contacted? Because like maybe Viv does not want to be contacted, in which case this is perfect, right? This is just like yeah, I exist. Come on, like maybe that's all you need sometimes. They can do some OSINT from your GitHub if you want. Okay, so yeah, basically you're not really caring if they find you, and they can get you from GitHub or something like that. Yeah, and your game runs on the browser, so that works. Oh right, it was this game, which is perfect. Oh, I have a trackpad, so that's gonna be impossible to play the game. I remember playing this game though. It was good. I sucked at it though. I do remember that. Right-clicking on a trackpad sucks. So I'm not going to play this too much. I do remember it being fun, though. Nice. Okay, so you're deploying on Cloudflare pages. How are you liking that? I've never tried that before. They have a thing called Cloudflare Workers, which lets you run JS. It's stateless, so not a full backend. Sort of like a Lambda function type thing. But yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Okay, yeah, exactly that. And then you can use DB for state. Nice. So that's from nhost. Ooh, FusionAuth, Hasura Jot mode, error fetching Jock. This is closed, so that is good. The engine has been running a Docker container as part of a Docker compose file, is able to confirm the Lambda is operational by not including the following line in the environment settings of the container. I don't think we had all of this. I think we had some of it. However, this means that Hasura is not running in Jot mode, so there isn't any actual authentication occurring without this setting. The error that is thrown as soon as yes, okay, this is what we got. Wait. Beat the Sharps opened this on March 10, 2020. Closed it as completed. Oh, because it's in the wrong GitHub. But, okay. I believe the FusionAuth service will be exposed through a named value and port mapped. Right. Yeah, you have to go through the name. Oh, the name. Okay, maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's a problem. Our name here is auth. Okay, so don't go to localhost 9011. No, that doesn't make any sense. Go to auth 9011. Maybe that's better. Okay, let's try this again. Hasura is healthy and up. Okay, I think that was it. So now, there we go, logged in. So remember me, let's go in. Okay, so we're currently logged in as root, as like the full secret user. But we have absolutely nothing happening here in the database. Let's go ahead and just like manually do something. So we have no tables. Okay, so let's actually, let's just create a table. Yeah, let's just create table. This is gonna be our test. So I don't even know what we're, I guess like, we don't have like a theme for this app, do we? That we want to create at. Let's just do a cool stuff. Columns. We can have an ID. Because I'm lazy, I'll just do an integer auto increment. Has to be unique, not nullable. Let's do name. You'll be a sure text. Why not? You'll be nullable. Can't be. Okay, we do that. Let's just do that. So we can see the name or we can't see the name. That's our ID. ID is the primary key. No foreign keys. Add the table. So there we go. So in our API, we now have cool stuff and we can get the name and the ID. We have nothing in there right now, but we can fix that. We can do a mutation, add cool thing. This is going to be an insert cool stuff one object. Name is going to be, I don't know, let's just do like one because I'm not very good at that. I'm not feeling very creative right now, basically. And then let's give the ID and name back. Okay, so if I run this, there, we've added 1, and then we want 2 and 3. Okay, so my query, we have 3 items in here. Perfect. And if we come back to data, in cool stuff, we can do some permissions here. So we have our admin role. I don't want admin as the role. Admin, this is not a good role to have. So I need to in the lambdas. Oh, I lost everything. We need to recreate you. Yay, we need to do all those steps again. Okay. Vivex, thanks for stopping by. And have a good rest of your dinner. Okay, so health check. Okay, so we need to do this all over again. We have an app. Browse. Create a Lambda function. Okay, so we need to create a Lambda function that's of type jot populate. So we'll call this Hasura. What? Hasura is fine. Hasura jot populate. We'll throw you in there. Save you. In jot settings, enable that for the access token. FusionAuth. We created a manual one, didn't we? Nope. Okay, so I need to create a new name, EyeAP, no theme. Don't really care about roles right now. Okay, OAuth, redirect URL, HTTP, 8081 auth login. I think those are fine. For jot, enable you, populate token, you use that. And then we'll have to create another sign-in key too. Okay, so we've got you. You're happy. Okay, next up, create a signing key, and it has to be an RSA. Key master, generate an RSA key pair. We'll just call this Hasura. And back to our apps, and back to jot, and we use Hasura for that, and that. And I think we're good. Okay. Okay, I believe none of this changes whatsoever. We should be fine there. Okay, and then we're gonna do that. Okay, so now I want to go back to our Lambda because I didn't actually pay attention to what we put in here. And we need to make sure that this is correct. So default role is user. So I actually would like this to be public. And so we're allowed to be public. And then we're also allowed to be we shouldn't call this admin. We should call this something else. Something like, what should we call it? Oh, my thing crashed. No, I don't know why error return 409 conflict subscription already exists. So something happens when it's trying to restart, which isn't great. I want a cargo run release mode. So I don't know what's going on there, but there, we got it back. Okay, so jot populate. Okay, so we get a public, and then maybe here we'll just say author because that's what I'm using right now. So anything other than admin, that's all that really matters. Is okay, you're allowed to be a public and an author. So public lowercase, author lowercase, which is great. So now permissions, we want public. Let's just say that you're not allowed to do anything because you're a terrible person if you're public. How do I, public? No access for anything. I guess here, let's do author. We'll say select, you're allowed to, without any checks, you can get the ID and the name. Oh, so I have to have some kind of thing in here. Oh, that's good to know. Okay, so then public, let's just say for select, without any checks, you're only allowed to get without any checks, you're allowed to get the name and only the name. Say permissions. So you're filtered like that. An author is allowed to insert a name and can't delete or can't update. So that's our big difference between these two. Okay, so then if we come back to our API, now we're still like the super admin. So that's great. Zilby was yelling at me about something. Let me go and take a look to make sure he's okay. I'll be right back. He was just outside the room. There we go. Now he gets some of the purr. Okay, let me see if he wants to hang out outside or hang out on the window. And the answer is no. He just immediately leaves. Okay. Well, we at least got to say hi to Zilby. Okay, so if I remember correctly, I get to set the key to something, and then we have the jot. So we have you. Okay, so after all that stuff, wait, Hasura authentication. Okay, so session variables, we need X Hasura role. Okay, so if we remove you, hey, missing authorization or cookie header in jot authentication mode. Okay, perfect. So X Hasura role, we're gonna say, I wanna be public. And then also, okay, oh wait, we want to be in jot mode. That's what we want to be in, yes. Okay, yes, the jot has this, that's great. Okay, and then I have an authorization. Okay, we have to have the X Hasura role, which this one is lowercase. So that's lowercase u. And then we're gonna have authorization. We're just gonna have a bearer, and then our bearer token. So let's go see whether or not this bearer token is correct. We'll log in with you. Right, malformed because we need to update our client information. Not that one, you. Okay, so we have a brand new, I believe this is client ID. How long am I here? I'm here for another hour or so. Actually, wait, no, I have a meeting. I have a meeting today. Need to check my schedule. I think I have a meeting in 45 minutes. So I'll probably stop in about half an hour. So let's just say half an hour, which is, I don't know if you can see the time up here. 12:15 is probably when I'm going to stop. And then tomorrow I can usually go until 1 o'clock. Amir Rosine, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so I think that'll work. So okay, so we can now log in again. Authenticated, okay. So if we go to our cookies, we can see our access token here. So we copy you back to you. Bear that. Doesn't like you yet, but also it's got a weird thing in here. Could not verify JOT. Compact decode error, invalid number of parts. Expected 3 parts, got 1. Ah, okay. Finally, we get an error message that's helpful to us. Okay, so expected 3 parts, got 1 because you are supposed to be all this. Can I just copy you and get all the parts together at once? No, it's here to you. There it is. We've got it. Okay, so we are now logged in to Hasura as public because I'm telling you I want to be public. That's what I am. I'm public. Here's my token. It looks inside the token. The token says I'm allowed to be either public or author. And so we can see I'm attempting to query for ID and I can't query on this. If I attempt to do that, validation failed. I'm just not allowed to do it. It doesn't exist as far as it's concerned. Add cool thing, I'm also not allowed to add a cool thing. If I change you to author, now I can get the ID and those. So perfect. And I can add a 4th cool thing. There we go. All right, so we've got authentication working. And I bet if we came back to our Rapid API and we went to OAuth to user info, and we use the token, but now the correct token, because I only used one of the 3 parts before. There we go. We get sub NTID. Okay, which is this our actual ID? So if I come back to here, I want users, my user 97AE, and I got back, sub. So yeah, this one, 97AE. So I can get the user ID back from this and then start doing cool things with it. But that's cool. Tea Kettle Drone, hello, how are you doing today? Language on top of a language, maybe adjusting too superficially, but you're immediately skeptical of that. It's not a language on top of a language, so it's more of a multitude of SASs working together, but working locally together. So we have our database, so that's just a Postgres database, and then on top of that, I'm using a centralized authentication system called FusionAuth. And FusionAuth is using my database, doesn't use its own database that's sort of hidden away. And I generate and I create a user for that through that, and then through my front end, which is in you, I redirect to their page. They log in. It goes to FusionAuth's backend, which is again locally hosted in my own Docker system, which does the entire key code exchange to get an access token. Redirects me back to my you page. I get the access token out of cookies, and I send that to Hasura, which is perfect. Yeah, we were talking about FusionAuth a short while ago. Yeah. So yeah, that's this is continued on with that. Hasura is a GraphQL API, but it's as a service. So instead of me creating the entire GraphQL system, the GraphQL API is a service that includes authentication and other stuff with that. So this thing is Hasura for me. So I point it at my database, and I then do some header fun stuff. So we can see that I'm passing in 2 headers here, Hasura role, which is the role I want to be, and an authorization bearer token, which is the proof that I can be that role. And then based upon that information, I can lock them down. So they're not super admins. Instead, it's an author or public. And I can basically do a select for everything if you're an author, or only select the names if you're not an author. And if you're an author, you can insert, but only the name. Oh yeah, your head is spinning. Yeah, there is a lot to this. But the entire permission system of Hasura is pretty cool. And we can do even further cool things. So I can say something like, okay, it's gonna be a little bit weird. In select here, let's see, what do I want to do? I want to row select, row select permissions with a custom check. We can say that, I don't know, your name must be equal to your user ID. Okay, this is a really silly one. So if I save you and we come back to API and we go back to, we just want to be a public, give me all the cool stuff, right? There's nothing here, because none of the cool things equal our user ID. So let's go back to, let's see, what is it called? Author. And I'm going to insert, let's go find what our user ID is. It's that. So insert that as a cool thing, and back as public, I query, give me all the cool things, and I only get one cool thing, which is me, my user ID, because it's equal to that user ID that's passed in, which I do. I configure that inside of FusionAuth as a Lambda function. So it updates the access token and ID token to have this information for me. I know, so this is pretty cool. I like this a little bit. I like that a lot. It was actually a little bit easier to get this set up and running than Auth0 was, at least on the Hasura side. So that's really nice and good. So this is great. Now, questions. Okay, as an unauthenticated admin, I want to log in. We can do that. We can now log in. Get user information and display the user info. So, how do I get the user information? That's another, that's a new thing. So I think instead of OAuth 2, because I don't think this is helpful, if I do API user and I throw in a user ID, there we go. With just the bearer token, I can get my user information. So this is perfect. Now, the question is, can I do this inside of Yew? And I believe I can, because I'll be sending a request. My bearer token is in cookies, and I just want to send a GET request to API user, and then my ID. So I guess first thing is, I need to get my ID out of this. Can I get my ID? Which is through the ID token, I believe. Through the ID token, can I grab that? Like, what do I have here? Like, I have a bunch of other things. I got other cookies. Here's my ID token. If I take all of you and we go back to our token verify, let's see what I see. Payload data. Okay. I don't even need any of this stuff in here. It's just available to us. So I can see OpenID sub. There it is. Okay. So if I were to decode the ID token, I could now see my user ID inside of here. I didn't put anything else in for the Hasura stuff. Oh, wait, signature invalid. Oh, I need to put the public key in here. Okay, hold on. Valid signature now? I wish this told me it was updating properly, because I can never tell if at one point in time did this data load in properly here. Okay, so if I just delete you, yeah, you're invalid signature, but you do have the data inside of it. So I guess that's something we need to look at. Okay, so not that big of a deal. Okay, but I need to grab you out of the jot, but maybe can I just get to user and not pass the sub because it knows it's mine? I don't know. That doesn't look like it's gonna work. I need the user ID. Okay, so first off, in front end, I don't have like any API. So we need to pull that in. And I have glue, so we can do a request through that. And we have wasm bind in futures. Perfect. Okay. So let's create. Oh, right. I broke all of my stuff that uses all my aliases, like LL, all broke because if we take a look at aliases LL, it was exa, and exa just stopped working because of font stuff, which is not great. So let's just go ahead and unalias LL and unalias LS, and then we will alias LL equal to be ls dash L. So now I can do, quote. Now I can do LL at least and have something working. And I'll probably have to switch away from exa at some point in time or fix this and download some libraries, which that's not. Oh, exa is not actively maintained. Well, that explains that. That explains that. Okay, so then we just remove that and we'll not use it until we figure out something completely different to use. All right, so what did I want to do? We're in here. We're going to go into source. Let's create a, what is API? Yeah, API-RS. That'll be fine. Okay, so an API. Oh, Eza is one of the successors, you think? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's replace exa on system with Eza. Cool. I hope I'll remember that. Also, hello, Skimus. How are you doing today? All right, so we're going to do a pub async function get user info. Let's not worry about a return or anything else like that. We're in an async block, so we can just do a glue net HTTP request. And then I have to do, okay, yeah, I could just do a get request. So it is just a standard builder here, isn't it? I get to, we're not using an environment variable, so it's super fun. Localhost 9011, but this is all just test stuff, right? Let's see, we're API user, and then I need something like that. Credentials. Controls what browsers do with the credentials. Okay, so credentials, request credentials. So what? Yes, request credentials. How do I know, okay, so expected request credentials found nothing. Yes, I know that. Help me find it. Oh, our request credentials not. Oh no, request credentials are not added in here. Okay, so I need to find, okay, fine. I need request. I believe we need to do a cargo add request. What version of request are we using? Let's see, so if I just save you, you're technically fine if I do a cargo doc open, and maybe we'll be able to see what version of request glue is giving to us. And then we can install request the same versions. That way we can then get the request credentials module and do something off of that. Or at least the struct or whatever that is. It might be an enum too, I don't know. Okay, so there's glue, and then you. Okay, so what do we got here? Creates, I need glue net, and then you bring in, okay, HTTP request. Okay, so hold on. We're going to do a get that brings us a request builder, credentials, request credentials. Oh, it's from WebSys. WebSys 0369. Ah, okay. Now what? Okay, when I come here, I have this. I have WebSys through something. I don't. Okay, so how do I find where I've loaded this in from? Because like, okay, so we have WebSys. Can I see which crate has brought this up from me? Not really. That would be really nice if I could see how to get to, oh, re-exports. That's WebSys re-exports. Okay, all items re-exports. Oh, this is still WebSys. Huh. Let's see, can I go back to, just keep on going back until I got to the very beginning. Okay, so crate front end. Here's my crate. And if we search for WebSys, extern crate, yeah, okay, so this doesn't show me where it comes from. Oh, okay, so are you not public? Is it from glue? I do not see WebSys. out of here as a module. Yeah, I don't think it's here. Maybe yew brings it in. Yeah, but I don't think it brings it in either. Okay, so fine. Okay, so websys, we need 0369. So websys at 0369. Oh, they changed it. I can no longer do underscore is the same as dash. Okay. Perhaps you meant websys. Wait a second. No patching, no matching? Wait. Updated creates IO index, websys version 0369 added to dependencies, features. Okay, so I need to do that with the features. So hold on, let's go find glue again. GlueNet, HTTP, request, builder, request credentials, require request credentials feature. Okay, I don't know if I like, this is weird. It added this, but there's also an error. I don't like it. Okay, so we restarted our LSP, and so now we should do this again, right? So we're gonna do a request new, let's just let our URL, so that way we can change this later if we ever need to. I'm gonna go API user. We need our user ID, which is this one right here. URL, you're not, uh-oh. I'm not getting any help from our LSP. That's not a good sign. Cargo Tomo, what happened? Oh, you didn't, oh, that's in CLI. Front end Cargo Tomo. Oh, websys didn't get added in here. Okay, so we need web, what are you? Your underscore websys, okay. So websys, we want version 0369, features that, okay, do that. Maybe you'll be happier. There we go, now you're happy. Okay, what are you upset about? No function or association named new. Right, because it's not new, it's get. Send credentials, include the credentials. I don't know if there's anything else we need to do, so we just need to send that response equals, we'll await that, and then we'll just unwrap this because we're monsters. Okay, so I get this response, and I need to, I need a JSON, I need to do the entire JSON thing, which I'm running out of time on. However, that being said, I should be able to run this and see it run in the browser in time. Okay, so get user info. When we get to our auth login page, instead of doing this, what I want to do is I want to load the other thing, which means we need, oh, what is it called? Okay, wasm bind gen fuser. Can I just do this here? Wasm bind gen futures. Okay, we'll do this in a use effect. Use effect. We'll do a wasm bind gen futures. Wasm bind gen futures. Spawn local. And then no, wait, that's not right. Oh, it is. Okay, future. Async block. And then I want to run get user info dot await, and that's it. We're gonna return that, and we're not really gonna care at all. Your build failure. No, wait. Okay, we're fine. Everything is okay. So we log in, we go to here, and then in network we should see attempting to get API user going to there. Okay, 401 error. All right, so we got a 401 error. I sent all the cookie stuff. And response is just going to be no data because it was a 401 error. Okay, so next time, we need to figure that out. But unfortunately, I am out of time today. I've got a day job meeting coming up in less than 10 minutes, so I need to prepare for that. So with that being said, thank you everybody for hanging out with me today. Tomorrow we'll be continuing on with this project, but I sort of like do it as a 0.5 day because instead of the U stuff, we're going to be working on Anathema to create an Anathema front end for it. And we're Anathema updated, so we need to update that. And then also show you that I kind of sort of got the router working. And new things are happening with Togglebit as well. So lots of fun things going on there. So it's Anathema day tomorrow. And it should be a full day, so around 9:45 until 1. So with that, Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye.